All right, folks, it is time to start unveiling the bracket. And we have our first region, the Southeast region, featuring our number one overall seed. And our number one overall seed is the 2018 Warren Central Warriors, the only team with a perfect, unblemished 32-0 record. They're going to be taking on the winner of a play-in game between the 2008 Brownsburg Bulldogs, a team led by none other than Gordon Hayward, finishing with a record of 22-5. And Brownsburg will be taking on the 1996 Ben Davis Giants, a team that is led by the current head coach of the Ben Davis Giants, that is John Carlisle. They finished with a record of 22-6. Real quick, DMJ, Tony, what are your thoughts on these potential matchups?
I tell you what, Gordon Hayward was tough that year, as was Don Carlisle. I mean, Don had an outstanding career at IUPUI. I believe he's one of their leading scorers, if not the leading scorer. That's going to be a great matchup. There's a lot of good talent on both squads there.
Well, I tell you, you can't leave out Jeff Poyles or Mobanga for Brownsburg. Both had great games, especially in the state championships. So that's going to be a tremendous matchup. I mean, a tougher matchup than what people would think.
Rounding out the top half of the bracket, you've got the four-seeded Carmel Greyhounds. Probably the most notable name from that team is Ryan Klein. They'll be taking on the 5-seed, the 2012 Park Tudor Panthers. Not the only Park Tudor team we're going to be seeing, but real quick, 2013 Carmel versus 2012 Park Tudor.
I think you got to go. Park Tudor is going to be tough there. You got Blewett, you got Yogi. I mean, come on. I mean, with that alone, that's going to be a lot of potency there.
Yeah, I would agree, but it's hard to count out Carmel. Their style of playing. Ryan Cliverly was a sophomore that year, and they had Michael Bobovic that year as well. They just were a really, really tough team. But I would definitely favor Park Tudor in that matchup.
All right, and now with the bottom half of this bracket. First off, the number 2 seed, 1998 Pike. They finished the season with a 28-1 record. This version of Pike will take on the 2014 Park Tudor team, a team that I am picking for an upset. You have a senior Trayvon Blewett as well as Bryce Moore, two really capable shooters. Of course, Blewett nearly got the Mr. Basketball award himself. And finally, to round out the bottom half of the bracket, you've got the most recent state champions, the 2019 Carmel Greyhounds, finishing with a record of 26-1. And the final team in the Southeast Regional bracket is the 2017 Crispus Attucks team, finishing with a record of 25-4. To help break down the bracket from the most recent state champions, the Carmel Greyhounds, we've got the current Butler Bulldog, John Michael Mulloy, and last but not least, a former Crispus Attucks player. We have Zac Owens joining us. Guys, thanks for joining us today. What are your thoughts on this bracket?
Unmute you. There you go.
Yeah, it's a tough bracket. It's a lot of talent in this bracket for sure.
I mean, there's definitely throughout 1 through 9, is it? Yeah, 9 players and coaches and coaching schemes that really are all different all around. But each team I know was great in their era and their year, and no, it's definitely a tough bracket.
Nah, you guys are being too nice for me, man. Y'all, if y'all were that nice, y'all would have never been state champ.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly.
Y'all gotta bring it. Especially Zach. You guys, when you 2017, you all earned that state championship. I mean, it was I know it was a big buzzer beater there at the end. Was it Harris?
That was Harris. Jamal Harris with the tip in.
Yeah, Jamal Harris. And I tell you what, that was a nail biter. You guys lost a tough one in the city championship also that year against Kavase McCauley. That was an amazing game. So you guys were tough. You guys would be a tough out for anybody. Same thing with you, John. I mean, you all didn't get to finish the business in 2018 against Warren. They were to go undefeated. You guys came right back last year and got it done. So I wouldn't rule you guys out against anybody in this bracket.
I'll tell you what, gentlemen, looking up and down this region here, give me your thoughts on some of the matchups.
Man, that Brownsburg-Ben Davis, that's a tough matchup. But I got to go with Brownsburg on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to go with Brownsburg. And then that Brownsburg-Warren Central. Whew.
Yeah. Yeah, Warren Central, number 1 overall, only team in this state to ever have a 32-0 record. So, yeah, you're right. That would be a tough one.
And they're in the MIC, too, like to go 32-0. Being in the MIC, like no losses, like even on an off night, like you're not losing to a team in the MIC. That speaks for itself.
Yeah, it's hard for me to even see anybody beating that team because I didn't see it. I didn't see it that whole year, and there were so many times when it could have happened. And you talk about cardiac kids. I mean, they just about every game was a close one.
Yeah,
And,
they had to go
got it done.
New Albany, didn't they have? Yeah, they beat New Albany on the game winner. Like you going against an NBA player, really.
Yeah.
Like that's tough.
That 2013 Carmel team, 2012 Park Tudor, that game, I don't think they ever played, but Ryan Klein, Volovic, that's how, for me, that's who I looked up playing against. But then you got Park Tudor with Blewett. That's tough. That's tough. So I obviously I have to go with Carmel, but
surprise,
yeah.
Obviously, but no, all these games, man, it's great teams all around. I know all these teams went somewhat far, or they got pretty well into the state tournament, if not won the state tournament. So it's a bloodbath definitely in here.
Yeah, actually, every team that's in these brackets are state champions. So, everybody, has that killer instinct, if you will, that will to win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You almost have to wonder, too, which Park Tudor team is better. You've got, like I mentioned, in the 2014 version, you've got Blewett, who nearly put together his own Mr. Basketball campaign along with Bryce Moore, not to mention a freshman, Jaron Jackson Jr., who didn't have as big of a role at the time, but you still had his presence. And then meanwhile, with the 2012 version, you've got Blewett plus Yogi. Again, it's tough to pick between the two of them which one was better. It just, again, based on seeding, the 2012 Park Tudor team was the higher seed just based on record alone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll tell you what, that 2014 team, I believe Park Tudor was maybe 2A at the time, but they were good enough. I believe they won a county championship that year. So you're winning the county. That's a big accomplishment.
Yeah.
So they were tough. They also had Kobe Webster that year, who's now actually just transferred to Nebraska, but he had a solid 3-year career at Western Illinois. Of course, Bryce Moore, who's at Xavier now, started out at Western Michigan. So that's a talented trio, right there. And then Blewett is one of the all-time leading scorers in Xavier history. So, that's a tough team. Park Tudor's definitely had some talent.
Darrell, what about that 1998 Pike team? I know you did a little bit of research on them.
Well, looking at, they got Isaac Kincaid and Rodney Smith. Certainly, what were the big names there, and also Michael Campbell. But again, looking at Park Tudor, we talked about, they had Bryce Moore. That's a tough matchup. You can't really – Pike's always been Pike. They were putting up teams for a long time, but Park Tudor just came up, man, and that's a tough one for me to pick there.
Well, Zac, John Michael, thank you again for joining us. We've debated the picks here in the Southeast region. Fans, it is time for you to decide who advances in the Southeast region. Do you think the number 1 overall seed Warren Central Warriors are the best team, or do you want one of those trendy upset picks like a Park Tudor team to advance all the way to the Final Four? You guys get to decide. Remember, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Mick Network or Mick Network IN. Go and get your votes in.